Hello and welcome to ESPN Cricinfo Match Day. Our focus is on the third day's play, the Adelaide Oval. If you've just about woken up on a Saturday morning in India and you're trying to catch up and wondering why we've come to you at 32 minutes past 8 in the morning, it's because we've only managed 10.4 overs of play. Lots of rain around in Adelaide. It was enough though, those 10.4 overs for India to get the 3 wickets that they needed. At the end, Travis Head 72, equaling his previous highest score in Test cricket, and Mohammad Shami getting a couple of wickets to give India a lead in the first innings in a Test in Australia for the first time since Perth 2008. That bodes well for Virat Kohli's side. VVS Laxman and Ajit Agarkar have managed to catch a little more rest, I think, and joined me on this Saturday morning. Said it was important for India to at least not concede a lead. So these 15 runs important, or is the game now still?
Yeah, nothing in it really. I wouldn't call it a lead, but yeah, they did well to get those 3 wickets. Still conceded 40 odd runs this morning in that short little spell, but yeah, at least they've got, the pitch still looks good. Okay, maybe under the cloud cover, a little bit of rain around, there's a bit more zip. Was a new ball as well, but still looks a good pitch. So India needs to bat well because clearly ahead in this Test at this point.
Yeah, I mean 44 runs in 10.4 overs. You were thinking just before Mohammad Shami's those 2 wickets that this could be that typical Indian story in recent times, that Nathan Lyon and Travis Head would get a few and maybe trouble India's bowlers. So big 2 wickets to get just before the break was
started. Yeah, especially Nathan Lyon. Yeah. The way Nathan Lyon was batting, I think he's got good solid technique. He was playing some beautiful shots, he was playing the drives. So I think it's important from India's point of view that going forward, they have to realize that Australia has got depth as far as the batting is concerned, because Stark coming at 9, Nathan Lyon at 10 can bat. But I think Australia will be really disappointed that on the first day, the way the bowlers stuck to their plans and got India bowled out for a below par score, the batsmen were not able to capitalize on that. And again now, I think it is Australia who will be under pressure, because we have to also remember that they are the team which is going to play last on this wicket. And I think the batting unit now, India, I think they'll feel that the wicket will be better to bat on, because whenever there's rain around, the ball can get wet, the ball will come onto the bat, because the problem with the wicket in the first 2 days was that the ball was coming slow off the wicket. With the wetness of the outfield, the ball becoming wet, it can zip through, and I think the Indian batsmen can enjoy that. Ball coming onto the bat, you can get value for your shots as well.
All right, the play was supposed to resume at 1:52 local time, which is in just under 20 minutes from now. But there's some intermittent rain going around at the Adelaide Oval. Brad Hodge is there. I'll ask you to be weatherman just for a bit, Hodgie, before you even tell us about the significance or not of this 15-run lead. What's it like at the Oval?
Well, I'm staring outside having a look at the Oval now, and look, the lights are still on. There's marginal cloud cover above. It has stopped raining. The ground staff are out mopping up off the covers, but all in all, I think it looks like we will start on time again at 1:52.
What about that first close 10.4 overs, the 44 runs, so then runs coming quickly and 15-run lead for India. Game level pegged at the moment for you?
Yeah, I think, it's even keel at the moment. Look, I think Australia will be pretty disappointed with that. I think they have an opportunity to push on a little bit stronger, and we saw some really positive batting from Nathan Lyon. And VVS, pointed out that, these guys down the order can hold the bat. And they're very valuable runs, of course, because, they haven't done well. They haven't batted particularly well, given the fact that the Australian bowlers were able to bowl India out for 250, and the unlikelihood of that happening again is pretty slim on what looks to be a pretty good wicket. And it looks like day 3 will probably be the best time to bat.
This could be a game of fine margins. Now you're expecting a much improved batting performance from India?
You have to.
Yeah.
Because again, I still maintain that there's quality. There's talent in this Indian batting lineup. It's just about going out and playing to your talent and expressing yourself, and not repeat the mistakes which they did, especially the first day morning session, because the openers, we've mentioned so many times that whenever the Indian team goes on overseas tours, the responsibility will be a lot on the openers and the number 3 batsman. And Pujara has shown by playing that gritty knock under pressure. So it's important for Murali Vijay and KL Rahul, for their own good and for the good of the team, to give that solid start. Because what we have also seen is by the end of the first day, the Australian fast bowlers were tired. So I think it's also important to not lose wickets early on, not make that new ball effective for Australia, and suddenly the pressure will be on Nathan Lyon to pick up wickets, and if Nathan Lyon doesn't pick up wickets, then Australia will be under pressure. So I still feel this will be the best batting conditions for Team India. It's not that the wicket has deteriorated, but they cannot afford to repeat the same mistakes. They have to play with more discipline.
Will this
The
rain around?
the damp outfield could play into India's hands if they're smart enough. I mean, don't lose too many early on. Every time the ball gets wet, it'll be much harder for the bowlers to do something with it in the air or off the pitch. Just makes batting a little bit easier. So India, I mean, like Laxman saying or stating the obvious, but those two at the top have got to get India some sort of a start. It'll just make things easier for the batsmen to follow.
Will it make a difference to the bowling? The little moisture on the pitch or the little rain that's fallen on the surface?
It felt like odd balls zipped through a little bit, but again, there were tail-enders batting, so you don't quite know when the proper batsmen face the bowling. You'll always expect this attack to do well with the new ball. It's how India counters it and be smart about it. I think Travis Head and Pujara have shown how you need to approach innings on this pitch, because it does get easier once you're in, like any other pitch. So still good conditions to bat. May not be a 450 sort of conditions, but you've got to grind your way to a score which then Australia will find it difficult to chase.
We were watching visuals of the 2003 test, Hodge, which is pretty much the only test that gets played on Indian TV over here, the ones that India win abroad. But just looking at the outfield there and comparing it to the outfield here, it seems like a significant difference. Correct me if I'm wrong, but things just seem slower at this Adelaide Oval. I wonder if you've observed anything?
Yeah, is that the test match where Ajit took 6 for?
Yeah, I think that's the one. Ajit never talks about it.
That's all we mention on this show, Hodge.
Well, nice. No, look, I remember that test match. It was a pretty special test match, and they generally always are here at Adelaide. But looking out at the conditions, it's just started raining again, unfortunately, boys. But there seems to be some dampness, in the outfield, and it's quite slow. Generally, you get really very for shots here. A 250 target may actually be 300 in the old terms of Adelaide Oval. So generally, if you hit the ball through the infield here, it generally goes to the boundary and you get 4. But we're not seeing that today or in the last 2 sessions where you hit the ball and there's players running 2s and 3s. So look, it'll be hard work, and if the Indian batsmen can get through this particular new ball period, as pointed out, then you may be watching another replay in 2019.
Okay, now we have to just hold on to confirm news as to when play will resume. Like Brad Hodges pointed out, the rain seems to have come back again. We'll keep you posted on ball by ball comms, as well as if we get any info before that. Maybe we'll take a break from looking ahead to this innings and actually talk a little bit about some interesting quotes by Justin Langer, the Australian coach, and the first of Ajit Agarkar's 6 wickets from that Adelaide test. Have a look at some things he said, the Aussie coach, yesterday. Now, Virat Kohli was certainly one that the cameras took note of with his celebrations. But Justin Langer to the press saying, or in an interview saying, I think if we did that, celebrate like Kohli at the Finch wicket, at the moment, we, as in the Australians, would be the worst blokes in the world. But it's a fine line, isn't it? That's the truth of it. He loves seeing the passion. I mean, it's great, but there is a fine line. Now, Langer's got the huge responsibility of lifting this Australian team and seems to bear a few bruises of things that have been said by everyone else at the fall of Australian cricket in recent times. But do you understand where he's coming from? If Kohli does it, it seems like passion, but if the Aussies would do it, they'd be painted as villains.
Well, they should try it. I mean, I don't know. We'll figure out. I feel sometimes Virat is over the top. There is no doubt about it. But he is consistent with it. So whether he actually that's the way he is, I think it's for the match officials to then make a call whether it's over the top or not. I kind of understand, especially with the reputation that Australia is trying to mend after what's happened in South Africa. But whether to equate it with Virat, I'm not sure is the right thing to do.
VVS?
Yeah, I just feel they've got it wrong. The Australian team, Australian coach. See, when you're playing for your country, you have to play with pride, you have to play with passion. And you're not there, trying to impress the spectators or trying to be the good boys. You have to play in a hard manner. Yes, Virat celebrates in that fashion, but what Justin Langer should be talking is going out and playing aggressive cricket. It's not about celebration, it's about showing your intent, your positiveness in the way you bat, in the way you feel, in the way you take wickets. So he should be concentrating on, did the batsman yesterday play with that positive, aggressive intent we have seen over the years from the Australian batsmen. Scoring at 2 runs per over is not something which I have seen since the time I followed international cricket. So I think they've got it wrong. Yes, what happened at Cape Town was not right. They crossed the line, but that was something to do with ball tampering. Here neither did Virat sledge, neither did he use abusive language, and that's the way they celebrate. So if I would be Justin Langer, I would be telling to the team, forget about your celebrations, forget about focusing on what the opposition team is trying to do. You focus on being the best Australian cricketer you can be. So go out there, play with the conviction that you can score runs quickly, you can score runs against any opposition, show that in your body language, show that with your positive intent, and forget about what's happening off the ground. You can't please people.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're trying to change their image. The only way you can change your image by winning test matches, by winning test series, and that's what the Australian public are waiting from this team, to watch this team play like the great teams of the yesteryears. But it's out there. As far as the cricket is concerned, I'm not sure whether they are playing to their potential.
It's not such a bad thing for India if he's focusing on what Virat Kohli is doing, trying to then say that Australians might be blamed for it if they do it. So good thing for India, I suppose.
Now there's a certain, I guess, expectation of when teams go to Australia, how Australia play and the game they play. Now, Hodge, before I get your thoughts, as I know you've been listening patiently, I'd love to hear what you have to say on it. But there's a second part to this. Sachin Tendulkar put out a tweet and questioning, and this is generally capturing more or less the experience by a lot of international cricketers. Michael Vaughan said something similar too. The defensive mindset by the Australian batsmen at home is something I have not seen before in my experience. VVS said that yesterday, Ajit did. I'm seeing a lot of ex-cricketers do that. Now, that was too fended off by Justin Langer. There was a response put by Langer to that tweet from Tendulkar. He was asked about it. And every time Tendulkar played, Australia, every time he's played Australia, he had Alan Border or David Boone, guys who played 300, 400 tests between them. They've got kids when it comes to test cricket playing. So they're just finding their own skin. They're fighting their backside. So not only to help us with the test match, but to find out what test cricket's about. Now let me get a holistic response from you, Bradley Hodge. Listening to this, Justin Langer's got his work cut out. What do you make of his comments?
Well, I mean, they're strange. I would have thought that... I think Sachin's got a fair point. I think there's been a lot of criticism in the way that Australia played yesterday. We didn't take the game up to the opposition. We struggled. We looked like we were out of our depth in the middle, and that's not the case. They've actually pretty good players in the lineup. Finch is a good player. Harris is a good player. Kawaja, Marsh, Hanscom, Travis Head. They're all good players, and they're all natural strikers of the ball. And in the Witcham manner, I've never seen, along with Sachin, an Australian team that have gone out and scored it 2 runs and over or less than 2 runs and over. We're the type of team which look to dominate attacks and put pressure back on the attack, and I don't think that happened. And I think that's something which I think Justin should be focusing on, and leave the other matters to another time.
Yeah, I think that's again a very wrong message he's passing on to his team. Because there's no doubt that the players will see what the coach is talking in the press conference. So indirectly, the coach is telling this is an inexperienced side. I don't really expect a lot from this side. And he's telling that when Sachin played, he had David Boone and Alan Border in the Australian team. What age was Sachin when he first toured Australia? And he got that brilliant 100 at Perth. He got a brilliant 100 at Sydney. He was, I think, 17 years or 18 years. Now 16 years. So I think that's what Justin Langer and I feel the Australian setup is doing a mistake. When you're playing for your country, when you're playing for Australia, which took a lot of pride in wearing that baggy green cap, all the players, Steve Waugh, till the last test he played, he valued that baggy green cap. So the message which Justin Langer is passing to his team is, I don't expect too much from you, neither is Australian public expecting too much from you. And you're still very amateur. When you're playing for your country, you're not amateur, you're professionals. You're out there to represent and score runs for your country and take wickets for your country. So I think that itself shows the negative mindset. And that's not acceptable, I feel. And I saw Matthew Hayden score those runs in 2001. He was making a comeback, but he was very inexperienced as far as his test career is concerned. But the manner in which he got those runs on tough batting wickets in India. I saw Michael Clarke on debut get a brilliant 100 at Bangalore. His first test match for Australia. He was not experienced, but the approach of Michael Clarke, of a Matthew Hayden, was sensational. You ask Brad Hodge, when he got the double 100 against South Africa, maybe in Perth, How many test matches did he play? He didn't play too many test matches before he got the double hundred, but the manner in which he got against quality bowlers. So that again shows the mindset the current Australian setup is, and that's really, really disappointing, keeping in mind that I followed them since a long time.
Sure. I mean, maybe the other question to ask is, are these players good enough at test level? They might be good players, but are they that good to dominate against test quality bowling?
And we are talking about the ones that have played enough of test cricket right now. Someone
yeah,
like
I mean, you can
like
see
Sean
the difference
Marsh.
between Khwaja and maybe some of the other players who batted. Okay, Harris playing his first test is a little bit different.
Aaron Finch is an international, even though
he's
not
been
an
around in
experienced
international cricket for a while. So again, you've got to ask that question as well. Are they that good, or whether the quality is lacking?
So just on that, it's just Steve Smith and David Warner who are missing in the Australian batting lineup. It's no one else. Bancroft is an inexperienced player. You didn't have
Essentially,
enough.
it's two guys.
It's two guys.
Two very good
so
players, but
imagine
two
if
players.
Ricky Ponting is not there, and you didn't have Matthew Eden, but you still had a lot of replacements in the Australian ranks who come and straight away play the Australian method of cricket. So
Again,
I think
it comes down to the quality. There was quality throughout the rank. Maybe there isn't at the moment.
I mean, we had that chat somewhat with Hodge, but let me take a response because you're listening to Laxman and Ajit. Hodge, Justin Langer as a player faced very little defeat in his time, played one of the great Australian times. Here he is now having to somewhat either defend or, I mean, would it be fair to say make excuses for what seems to be an inexperienced team that's facing a fair bit of fire for not playing the Aussie way?
Yeah, inexperienced or not, I think they have a due respect to be professional sportsmen and play the game in which you want to play it. And they've been selected for a reason. Whether they're good enough or not, time will tell. But they have been chosen, and there's a reason the selectors have chosen them. That they expect them to do well. No one expects anyone to walk out on the field of play as a cricket player or a sportsman and go, "I'm going to have a bad day today." Everyone expects success. Everyone expects a level or the level of the bar to be high, and certainly the Australians expect that. And I think we really are questioning how we're going to go about this and turn it around. We're worrying about little things, about attitude, about people's behaviours. To me, let's just get out the middle, play cricket, play hard, play the best you possibly can, and compete. We want to see competitors. Australians are tough cricketers. They should get out there and compete, get in the contest, and we'll see who wins at the end of the play. So, that's what we want to see as viewers of the perfect game.
I just wonder how much of this is to do with just leadership as we round this chat up finally. Hodge, Australia has been blessed with some seriously strong, fierce captains who play the game hard but fair. Tim Paine seems like a lovely bloke. Is he the kind of guy that can lift Australian cricket and bring that sort of approach that you're talking about? Or is he merely a placeholder until Australia finds someone who can take the reins?
Well, I mean, the problem is that we're playing against the number one test nation, at the moment. India have been strong for a long period of time, and if there's any form of weakness, then they'll exploit it. We've certainly been blessed with the likes of Alan Border, Steve Waugh, Mark Taylor, tough captains, Ricky Ponting, but they lead in the Australian manner. And the one good thing with those leaders is once you cross that line, you play the Australian way, as VVS has pointed out. And that's tough, hard cricket, and try and dominate as best you possibly can. And that's all we want to see when they cross that line. Is Tim Paine the best person to do that? Well, time will tell, but we seem to be focused on a lot of other things other than just the process of playing cricket.
Very well. Could take just one win, and it could even happen in this test match, and suddenly the narrative might change. So that's your Saturday morning breakfast pill on Australian cricket and all its worries. But we'll take it forward. Now play is not going to resume at the time that I previously mentioned. There's going to be a further delay. Brad Hodge pointing out that the rain did come back down. Maybe it's a good time to take some of the questions that you've been posting. So early Saturday morning, but we still have a few questions coming in. Langer said that batting will become easier on this drop-in pitch. Are we thinking incorrectly that batting in the last innings will be tough, VVS?
Yeah, I think it may not be as tough as probably what it was in 2014, and no one knows because this is the first time I think India is playing on a drop-in wicket at Adelaide. So I don't see that it's going to deteriorate as badly as in 2014. I still remember there was so much of rough.
Oh, yes.
The wicket, there was uneven bounce, and the way the ball was turning, especially when Nathan Lyon was bowling, was unbelievable. I don't think that the wicket will deteriorate as bad as what it did in 2014, but still when you bat in the last innings, there's always the scoreboard pressure on you. You know, so that will be the added pressure as far as Australia is concerned. But the wicket will still be a decent wicket to bat on.
Let me just see if Hodge agrees with that, just on how this pitch would play out going forward, and in which case this is an Australian batting lineup that's a little insecure or not quite as confident as others. So what's the number that you're looking at if you're Australia to keep India down? What would you be happy chasing in the fourth innings, Hodge?
Well, I don't think Australia can chase too much more than 250, regardless of the wicket. I mean, it looks a pretty good batting wicket. There's not as much, as VVS pointed out, areas that have been affected by bowlers follow-throughs. There's a good grass covering, still dry underneath, but all in all, I would have felt that fourth innings runs are hard to chase on any test match, especially with scoreboard pressure. If India go out and post anything around 300 and have a 315 lead or plus, then I think Australia are in a bit of trouble.
Okay, let's take another question now on ESPN Cricinfo Match Day, as we still await confirmation on when play will resume at the Adelaide Oval after India took their 15-run lead this morning. Keep your questions coming. #Matchday. This one from Foma Ramteke. Are we seeing an improved version of Rishabh Pant behind the stumps? 6 smooth catches. Ajit?
Small sample size. I mean, he's hardly kept in Test match cricket at the moment, and obviously easier keeping on pitches where it carries through nicely.
Yes.
I mean, there's a bit of bounce. Ashwin did get a bit of spin yesterday. Otherwise, in Australia, you're not going to see a lot of spin. That's where the challenge sometimes comes in, when the ball's up and down at the moment. And England, maybe when it passes the stumps and swings, he had tough time.
There was some
at
sloppy
time, but there was
moments
some
in the
sloppy bowling.
T20s.
There was
Yeah.
some really wide down the leg. So no, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But he's doing a job which he's been picked for, and at the moment looks comfortable.
Jury's out on whether Rishabh Pant is the long-term solution or not. He's certainly got talent, but he's not your conventional Ridhiman Saha-esque, proper wicket-keeper by the textbook. Is he one of those like Dhoni? He might be unconventional but could find a way, or do you think there will be some adjustments need to be made?
No, I think he's definitely improving.
Yes.
And that's what you want to see from a youngster, because over the last 1.5 years, I think his keeping has become much better. And you mentioned Dhoni. I still remember the first time I saw Dhoni in 2004-05. He didn't have a normal conventional technique as far as wicket keeping is concerned. The way a keeper is supposed to receive the ball, especially when he's keeping against quality spinners like Anil and Harbhajan. But he's probably been the most effective keeper. So it's important, as far as technique is concerned, every player should understand his own technique.
Yeah.
What is the right technique to receive the ball with soft hands. But I think positive sign is improving with each and every match he's playing. Like yesterday, the catch of Usman Khwaja was an example.
Yes.
He didn't rush. He still received the ball with soft hands because that was a very faint edge.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things which I would definitely love to see. And it's great that he's working, and he's work in progress. The more he keeps, the better he will get.
The challenge also for him is he only keeps in Test cricket. Okay, recently he kept in T20 cricket.
Yes.
So one day cricket he plays as a fielder. So there is a not a lot. I mean, MS Dhoni kept in all 3 formats when he was playing. So can be a bit of a challenge when you're otherwise over the next month or so, or month and a half that India plays shorter format, might not be keeping at all.
You can thank his fast bowler for just getting the thinnest of nicks, so thin enough that goes straight to him and doesn't trouble you in the slips either. In fact, nothing went to the slips. So good on Rishabh Pant and India's fast bowlers getting just the right kind of edge. One more question as we look to wrap up the conversation. Still awaiting confirmation on when play would resume at the Adelaide Oval. Satish Kumar Swaminathan, should the Indians try sweeping or reverse sweeping against Lyon in this innings to unsettle him, or do what they're best known to do for against him, like using their feet? It's a tough place to sweep Australia.
I think, it again, reverse sweep or even sweep is very natural. Like someone like me, I never swept too much in my career. Virat Kohli doesn't sweep, but it's all about knowing how to make sure that the rhythm which Nathan Lyon invariably gets into is how you can disturb that. So as a conventional footwork which I had when I'm playing spin bowling, I used to just take a long stride forward, and the important thing is to show faith in your defense. Once you have faith in your defense and you know that you can play with soft hands and you're not worried about the back pad catch which can go to the short leg fielder, then you're in a comfortable space as far as mind is concerned, and that's something which I'm hoping from the Indian batsmen. And it's just about not going one-dimensional. Like in the first inning, I just felt that they were too worried about Nathan Lyon's length, and premeditatedly they were stepping out. While you have a game plan as a team, But I believe that batting is all about individual game plans, and each individual, if they can stick to their strengths and their game plan and execute that, then I think they will be able to achieve success.
I wonder how Nathan Lyon is sort of neutralized or played successfully in Australia. Now, on pitches in Australia, you think there's an element of risk, Hodge, when it comes to sweeping someone like Nathan Lyon, extra bounce and whatnot. How is Nathan Lyon best played on Australian pitches?
Well, as Laxman mentioned, you've got to have your own game plan, and whatever's successful for you, you need to understand that and play to your strengths. We saw some attackive nature from Rohit, early on in this year, but I think someone like KL Rahul, who naturally plays the reverse sweep, if he's in long enough, he can maybe adopt that and disturb Nathan Lyon's, line or defensive line or attack or whatever you want to call it. But you've got to be able to know what your game plan is and play it as best you possibly can to be successful. But Nathan Lyon is a tremendous bowler and he's done exceptionally well for Australia. 320 test wickets or thereabouts is amazing, and especially in Australian conditions is superb.
Yeah, 6 key words for that KL Rahul was if he is in long enough. So
I think the reason Nathan Lyon is a challenge playing in Australian conditions is the length which he bowls. When you play in subcontinent condition, you can use from a typical off spinner, you can use the depth of the crease.
Yeah, Indian batsmen do that. As well.
But the problem or the challenge when you're playing Nathan Lyon is the pace at which he bowls. You cannot afford to go back. Because that's when you can get nicked, you can get caught behind or caught in slips, or you can get even LBW. So you're rushed, and then he extracts, because of that overspin, he extracts the bounce of the wicket, and that's why he enjoys bowling in Australian conditions. The other thing is the drift. So when you talk to the spinners who did well in Australian conditions, they always use the breeze, and I think that's why he gets that curve which goes towards slip, and then the ball turns and comes sharply into the right-hand batsman. So that's why he's been very effective on those wickets.
And takes us back to the conversation that they don't quite trust their defence to someone like Nathan Lyon. We saw the problem against Moeen Ali too, that they had to try and find ways to score off him because they just don't trust their defence.
Yeah, and like Laxman said before, there might be a game plan to try and dominate him a little bit, but to do
it's
that,
almost a forced game plan.
Yeah,
but you don't have a
to
choice.
do that, you still have to trust your defense. He's going to bowl a lot of good balls, which you still have to keep out and not get out of those. Then you can use your feet and try and rotate, or even if you have to take him on, you have to pick the right ball. So yeah, he's a tough bowler to face. Bowled well in India as well, but particularly in Australia. So Indians will have to play on the merit of the ball.
Or just step out and smash him out of the rough like Virat Kohli did in 2014. That should be easy enough for everybody to do. They have to find their way. The Indian batsman Nathan Lyon, we are predicting, and we have said many times that he could be a key figure in how much India get in this third innings. It's time for our Fab 4 game. We started this at the start of the test. If you remember that Laxman, Agarkar and Hodge all pick 4 players at the start of a day, like a fantasy system where depending on how the players play on that particular day, the runs they score, the wickets they take, the catches and runouts they effect, and they get points accordingly. So VVS has had a good day. Hodge had a good day yesterday. First, we'll just have a look at how things are scored and how things are equated in this. So each run is 1 point. 50 runs gets you bonus points. So do 100 runs for a player. So likes of Travis Head and Pujara would have got Laxman, Agarkar and Hodge bonus points, but they didn't pick them. Each wicket by the player gets 20 points. So VVS thinks that this game is somewhat strategically been made to favour bowlers. 3-wicket haul and 5-wicket hauls get bonus points. Also the bowler with the best strike rate for the day gets 20 more bonus points. Catches and direct run-outs as well get you 10 points, and a joint effort gets you 5 points. And the important point is that all points are for the particular day, no carry forwards to the next day. We do carry forward their points though, to see who is leading at the end of it.
I thought Brad picked Travis Head, didn't he?
Travis Head.
No, he played
No, but not on the day.
Today.
He picked him, he thought he was going to get a nice big 100, smashing it at the end. But who did Mr. Agarkar pick himself? Let's show you that. And that's Nathan Lyon.
I think you got it wrong. I did pick Shami, didn't I?
Yesterday.
Nice try. Nice try. You picked Ishan Sharma, who smiles at your choice to you, who will remain on 0, you would think. Now, our producer has a special gift for you, Mr. Agarkar. Please have a look from yesterday's last show.
last few wickets.
No, Mohammad Shami, one more day.
Go Ishant Sharma actually.
Ishant Sharma to get these wickets.
So he'll open the bowling tomorrow.
Okay.
Ajit knows that.
He's going to have a quick word with.
For all you know,
Virat and
Shami is going to get those 3 wickets.
Yeah, of course he is. Thanks to our producer Sugatu Mehta who's pulled this out just to
Any
embarrass
points
you
for telling
further.
that he'll open the bowling tomorrow? I told that he was going to open the bowling
You
tomorrow.
are
Ishant
so
Sharma.
ahead of him. You're so far ahead of him and you want points for this. Come on.
I mean, it's okay.
Nathan Lyon's going to get 8 wickets.
It's
8
been like-
wickets, oh my god.
But then again, all of you seem to have him, so that won't make
Yeah,
a difference.
exactly.
VVS Laxman's Fab 4 for the day. You've seen Ajit's, and no doubt he's already got Nathan Lyon getting him some runs. So too does VVS, but he's got 2 top order Indian batsmen and Bumrah 20 points for the wicket of Mitchell Stark. So
Well,
Kohli.
to be
and
fair,
VVS.
I picked Nathan Lyon for his bowling, not for his batting. But he gave me 24
He's
points.
given you,
I'm
both
not
of you, a
disappointed.
nice 24 cute little head start. What about Brad Hodge? Have a look at his 4. Hodge tends to pick slightly out of the box. He thinks KL Rahul will last long enough. So he's in that. Bumrah getting 20 points. Travis Head gets just the 11 for today. And Virat Kohli is on that list too. Feeling good about your pick now, Hodge?
Travis was probably the wrong one, but I'm confident KL Rahul will get some today, and Virat. I think they'll step up for sure.
Very well. Many thanks to Brad Hodge. We'll get his thoughts once we know more about the state of play at the Adelaide Oval. Many thanks to VVS Laxman and Ajit Agarkar as well. Thank you very much. And we will catch up with you once the next session of play happens. Download the mobile app, Ball by Ball commentary, and our social feeds will keep you up to date on exactly when play is set to resume at the Adelaide Oval. The story on the third morning is that India have taken an unlikely lead in an Australia Test match.